Hey guys, Rob, Sigma 3 Survival School. This is kind of part 2 to our yo-yo snare or our yo-yo bird trap. If you haven't watched that video on how to construct this pole, make sure that you go ahead and do that. And basically what I'm showing you is the old school version of that same trap with nothing but some cordage and a rock. And this trap is pretty effective. When I'm doing it old school like this, I typically like to gear it towards larger birds. And what I'm doing right now, I've already got this snare or this loop made, and I'm trying to find my correct adjustment. And essentially what I'm going to do, and this is the one kind of key difference between the other trap and this one, is that this one's going to have a knot right here in the rope so that it's a little bit more secure. And it will hold with a light rock like this for smaller birds without the knot, but for larger birds you've got to have the knot. So the way this trap works is we essentially have a deadfall that is what's going to create the tension when the snare loop closes. Follow this up. There is a hole right here on the back side, and then all the way through to the front side. You just drill that out with a small knife or an awl if you have one. And then you've got your rope running through the hole, and then you've got your trigger plugged into that. And the way that this works is when the bird flies up here, this is under, just very light tension. So just the weight of the bird is going to be enough to pull this out. And when that happens, I'll go ahead and set my visual attractant up here. You don't have to have any kind of bait. If you set this out in an open field where, in between thickets, something like that, you're still very likely to get something. But the way this works is the bird's going to come up here, it's going to fly and land on the perch, it's going to collapse it with its weight, and then the trap will pin it here. Now the downside to the primitive old school version is that if you put a rock or a deadfall on that's too big for the targeted bird that you're going after, it'll basically snap their legs off eventually, because that's usually what's going to catch. So depending on the type of game or type of birds in the area, kind of depends on the size of the deadfall. Obviously the larger the bird, the larger the deadfall that you're going to want to use. And if you do use a larger deadfall for this, then the trick to making it work is you've got to create a large knot to jam up here, right in this area. So just remember that, but in most instances, just the friction of the rope against the wood is going to be enough to, hold it in there, and you don't really have to worry about it, coming loose from the wind or blowing around. One more time showing you how this works. You set this in an area to where birds are likely to, visit a lot, but there's not a lot of trees around, or in an area that they nest. And essentially the bird will come up here, it'll land, and then it'll pin it up against here. Just like that. And it's as simple as that. And when you come back, the body of the bird will be smashed up against here, still alive. And we emphasize this a lot in survival, that live game is always much better than dead game, because we want to keep our meat fresh. And let's say we caught a bunch of these, let's say we set out 20 in an afternoon or something like that, and we had a bunch of birds more than we could eat, we can make ourselves a little box to throw these things in to where we can have them to eat for later. Please help us by sharing these videos and subscribing and liking. everybody knows, if you've been watching our channel for any time at all, you know that we're creating an encyclopedia of survival skill sets out there for y'all's benefit. And we really want to do this to help prepare Americans and our fellow, brethren out there across the country to become more self-reliant. So show these videos to your friends and help us get this out over the internet so that we can really make self-reliance a big movement and, get more and more people involved in it. And as always, we appreciate your commentary and your viewership. Thanks.